Imagine this. It's a dark, moonless night. You're parked with your significant other on a secluded lover's lane, radio playing softly. Suddenly, a news bulletin breaks through the music. A dangerous, deranged killer has escaped from a nearby asylum. He's described as having a metal hook prosthetic for one hand. Just as fear grips you, you hear a strange scraping sound from outside the car. What do you do? Do you check? Do you speed away? This isn't just a hypothetical. For decades, this scenario, with subtle variations, has terrified teenagers across North America, embedded deep within the collective subconscious as the Hookman legend. But what if this chilling tale, often dismissed as mere fiction, holds a kernel of truth? What if the collective fear wasn't just about a story, but about something far more sinister lurking just beyond the glow of your headlights? Because, as we'll uncover, the lines between urban legend and horrifying reality can sometimes blur in the most unsettling ways. To truly grasp the enduring power of the Hookman, we first have to understand the genesis of the lover's lane itself. Before the advent of the automobile, young couples had far fewer opportunities for private intimacy. Courting was often under the watchful eyes of parents or limited to public spaces. But with the Ford Model T and its successors, suddenly teenagers had wheels. And with wheels came freedom, the freedom to escape prying eyes, to find secluded spots where they could be alone. These secret parking places, often on the outskirts of towns, down winding, unlit roads, became known as lovers' lanes. They were places of budding romance, hushed conversations and first kisses. But like any place shrouded in darkness and secrecy, they also became fertile ground for fear. Parents, wary of unsupervised young love, perhaps unwittingly fueled the fire of these nascent anxieties. They warned their children of the dangers, not just moral dangers, but physical ones. It didn't take long for the innocent lover's lane to become a stage for cautionary tales. Tales designed to scare young couples into returning home early. This was the perfect crucible for a legend like the Hookman to be forged. The isolation, the darkness, the vulnerable position of being parked and focused on each other rather than the surroundings. It all created an ideal backdrop for terror. The stage was set, not just for romance, but for something far more unnerving to emerge from the shadows. The Hookman legend didn't just appear fully formed, it evolved, adapting to the fears of each generation. One of the earliest widespread versions often begins precisely as I described in The Hook, the radio bulletin. This element is crucial because it introduces an external, seemingly legitimate threat, making the fear palpable and immediate. The couple, now on edge, inevitably hears that telltale scraping sound. In some versions, it's a nervous girlfriend who insists on leaving, while her skeptical boyfriend dismisses her fears. They drive off, only to discover a gruesome detail upon arrival back home: a bloody metallic hook hanging from the car door handle. This twist is what elevates it from a simple scare to a chilling urban legend. It's tangible proof, left behind by the unseen terror. But the legend didn't stop there. Over time, it grew darker, more elaborate. Some tellings feature the couple finding a handprint on the foggy window, missing a finger. Others introduce a direct confrontation, a fleeting glimpse of the Hookman's grotesque silhouette in the rearview mirror as they speed away. The setting also becomes more specific in some accounts. A forgotten mental asylum nearby, a desolate stretch of road once known for unsolved disappearances. Each added detail, each localized variation, wasn't just random. It was a deliberate, unconscious refinement, making the story more terrifying, more believable, and therefore more memorable. It tapped into deeper primal fears: the fear of the unknown, the fear of losing control, and perhaps most potent of all, the fear of intimacy being violated by an external, malevolent force. The Hookman became a symbol of all the dangers lurking in the darkness, a boogeyman for an era of increasing youthful independence. But why did this particular story resonate so deeply, becoming one of the most enduring urban legends of the 20th century? It's a complex interplay of psychological factors. Firstly, it exploits our innate fear of isolation and vulnerability. When parked on a secluded lover's lane, you are, by definition, alone and exposed. The car, usually a symbol of safety and mobility, becomes a temporary, fragile barrier against the unknown outside. Secondly, the legend brilliantly uses the curiosity gap. What does that sound? Is it just the wind, a branch, or something far worse? Our brains are wired to fill these gaps, and in a state of heightened anxiety, they often fill them with the most terrifying possibilities. The reveal of the hook on the door handle is a masterstroke because it externalizes an internal fear. It's not just a story anymore. It's a physical manifestation of the danger. Furthermore, the Hook Man legend taps into the classic narrative of forbidden fruit. Young couples seeking privacy are, in a sense, pushing boundaries. The Hook Man serves as a kind of karmic retribution, a monstrous embodiment of the societal anxieties surrounding unsupervised youth and sexuality. It's a visceral warning, a story told to impart a lesson, even if the lesson isn't explicitly stated. Interestingly, some attempts have been made to connect the legend to supposed real events. Folklorists have pointed to a handful of unsolved murders or attacks that occurred on various lovers' lanes in the 1940s and 50s, suggesting that even if no killer with a hook hand was ever definitively caught, the general fear of such attacks provided enough fertile ground for the story to take root. The most compelling, though unproven theory ties it to a series of attacks in Texarkana, Arkansas, in 1946, by an unidentified assailant who later became known as the Phantom Killer. While he didn't use a hook, the terror he inflicted on young couples parked on rural roads contributed significantly to the climate of fear that helps cement such legends. The fear of external threat, the vulnerability of those secluded moments, it all blended into a potent cocktail of dread that fueled the Hook Man's mythos. The Hook Man, therefore, is more than just a scary story. It's a cultural artifact, a modern folktale that speaks to enduring anxieties. It's a testament to the power of storytelling, how a simple premise can tap into universal fears and evolve over decades, passed down from one generation of terrified teenagers to the next. Even today, decades after its peak popularity, the imagery of a hook scraping against a car door remains potent, a shorthand for pure, unadulterated dread. These urban legends serve a vital purpose in our society. They are cautionary tales, moral panic made manifest, yet also a way for us to explore our fears in a safe, fictionalized manner. They remind us of the fragility of safety, the thin veneer between civilization and the unknown, especially in those liminal spaces like a secluded lover's lane. So the next time you find yourself on a dark, isolated road, perhaps with someone special, and you hear a strange, dragging sound outside your window, will you dismiss it as just a story? Or will the shadow of the Hook Man, lurking just outside the realm of belief, make you question what truly happened that night and what might still be waiting in the darkness? If you found yourself gripped by this tale, you won't want to miss our next video, where we delve into the baffling case of the vanishing hitchhiker, another classic urban legend with a shockingly plausible and even more terrifying real-world connections. Good night and sleep tight, if you can.